Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Psychology Eats. So, what's eating you? Psychology Eats is here to help you. What's eating you? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And for anyone new here to my channel, thank you for clicking on. Thank you for watching this video and any other videos that you've watched that I put out there. And thank you for subscribing. You read the title. I'm doing a little follow-up to a YouTube talk show that I was on the other day. It's called Eat with Philly Phil and Talk Show and More. And I was on the panel discussing Tim Norman and the Sweetie Pies case. And I was talking about if I felt like Tim, if he could be labeled as a antisocial personality, have antisocial personality disorder, also known as a sociopath or a psychopath. And we don't use those terms anymore. It's now under the same umbrella as, and it's referred to as antisocial personality disorder. Now, where I get my information from, it's from the DSM-5. The DSM-5 is used all over the United States by psychiatrists, psychologists, clinicians, social workers. And it really, for us in the mental health field, it's like our Bible. We all refer to it when we are diagnosing a client or a patient. Now, at my level, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a psychotherapist. Some places may refer to me as a clinician. So I work under a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So what happens is, if I was to have an initial contact with any person, I would utilize the DSM-5 based on what the behaviors are of the person, what they tell me, and then I give a preliminary diagnosis. I'm sorry. I'm moving this table. I give a preliminary diagnosis, and then a psychiatrist, a licensed psychiatrist, will give the final diagnosis. So in the case of Tim Norman and my diagnosis for him, it's clearly coming from me just observing him through the TV, and also, giving more and more information about the case that he's involved in and being accused of participating in the murder of his nephew, Andre. And so, overall, most people want justice for Andre. Although they have the shooter, he has admitted to shooting Andre. It sounds like Tim was involved in putting the plan together. And although he didn't fire the weapon, had it not been for him putting the pieces in place for the weapon to be drawn and to murder Andre, none of this would have happened, allegedly. And so what we did, we looked at the criteria for someone being diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. And according to the DSM-5, there are 7 criteria, and as we moved through them and we read them, and please go back and watch the video. I will try to put the link in. I'm not good with that, but I'll try to put the link in so that you can go. I can definitely put a picture of what of that particular video. Go back and watch and see how we, as a community of people in the chat and PP and some other people that came on the panel, how we looked at each of the criteria, and based on what we know, Tim hit every one of those criteria, which in my opinion leads me to believe that he has antisocial personality disorder. Now, does that mean he gets a free pass? Absolutely not. He does not get a free pass because he has a mental illness. As far as what we can see, it's probably over for him. He'll probably spend the rest of his life in prison if he is convicted of this crime. But what we do in mental health is we want to prevent something like this from happening again. And so when we study a sociopath or someone with an anti-personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, we're looking for traits and clues that we can pinpoint and say, if your child is exhibiting these things, we need to put in some intervention because we don't want to get to adulthood and now we're dealing with a full-blown person with an antisocial personality disorder. And so for me, that is one of the reasons why it's important to study someone like Tim to prevent another Tim from happening. So that is what we did. So when we went through all of the criteria, and we were like, yeah, it definitely looks like he's has antisocial personality disorder. There were a lot of questions in the chat that we didn't get a chance to answer. And so a couple of the questions I want to read, and then I want to go back and give my response to some of those questions that people had. So let me see. One person asked, Robbie tried to tell Tim I believe she meant he needed psychological help. Now, I think I remember that episode, and it might have been after he was aggressive, I think, with Andre or something about that. Or I think as a parent, Robbie obviously knew that Tim had some issues. The fact that, he went to prison for 10 years for, robbing and stealing. And I mentioned last night, I just don't believe that he was starving, like he was hungry and he needed to eat. I don't believe that. So why would he be out terrorizing people, robbing and stealing? And so one of the criteria for antisocial personality disorder is that the person has a disregard for the rights of others since about the age of 15. And he displayed that. He was incarcerated at 17. But when did that behavior start of him being, robbing and stealing and doing those crimes? When did it start? Probably right in adolescence. Someone asked, simply Joanna asked, is he bipolar? Now that is a good question. Bipolar disorder is when someone shows manic and depressed behavior, manic and depressed, so mood, sorry, manic and depressed mood. And so, could he be bipolar? Yes. I mean, he did show a lot of, to me, when he would buy restaurants, he seemed to be in a manic state when he would buy restaurants, sell restaurants, buy restaurants. We're going here, we're going. And it just got to a point, from what we could see, that Miss Robbie just got so fed up with it and with him not listening. And so she needed to sue him to get him to stop. And so, bipolar, maybe. He could probably hit the criteria for bipolar. And then Michelle, but I'm just reading from my other phone. She says, Tim is a major narcissist, and he thought the authorities were going to overlook the deaths of a young black man. Tim didn't see Andre as human. He saw him as a barrier between him and his mom. Now, I just want to touch on the narcissism. Is Tim a narcissist? Well, excuse me. In order to be diagnosed as a narcissist, according to the DSM-5, you would have to hit 5 of the 9 criteria. And when I look at the criteria and I think about what I know about Tim, I don't see it. He hit a few of them, but I don't see him hitting all 5 of the criteria. So, did he show some traits? Yes. Would I give him that diagnosis? No. But a psychiatrist or a psychologist or another clinician could. They could have access to Tim and interview him. And maybe they know more about his history, more about his behaviors. And so then they would say, no, he's definitely is narcissistic. But I didn't see that. Like, one of them is lacks empathy. Lacks empathy, is unwilling. So when we think about his involvement with this case, of definitely shown a lack of empathy in regards to Andre. But when I think about Tim on the show, he seemed to have the ability to have empathetic and sympathetic feelings toward people in the show. To Janae, able to have a relationship, shown, love towards his children. Because I know not only does he have Timmy, he had another son before he went to prison. And I think I've seen him on TikTok with that other son. So he was able to show some real genuine feelings, I feel, to other people. But like I said, someone else could come in, look at the criteria, have more information about him, and think something different. This person said, Linda said, Tim is psychologically messed up, period. I think we would all agree to that. Psychologically messed up, how? I think we'll have to go, if we look back and we think about the criteria that he's already met for being antisocial personality disorder, then yes, he definitely has mental illness. It's not an excuse, but it is what I think what we're seeing. This person, Baby Girl 91, said, the production helped to hide his mental illness And in cap, she put narcissism. Um, I think they do that a lot in Hollywood. I think Hollywood does that a lot. That they will hide inappropriate behavior of their talent, especially if the talent is making them money. They allow bad behavior. There's been, people who were in the restaurant, workers that have, said Tim displayed bad behaviors at times, aggression. So I'm not surprised that the production would hide it or edit those clips so that we would only perceive him in a certain way. When we all heard this news, most people that don't know him we were all shocked. Like, no way, right? But the more we find out, the more we hear like, yeah, he displayed some behaviors that make sense that he would be involved in this. Then the last one, okay, I read that one. I think that was it. So I think I caught a few. If you have any questions, if you were in that live or you've watched it now and you have additional questions, leave them in my comment section and I will, answer them. But I just wanted to give a follow-up, and I wanted to also thank PP for inviting me on the show and giving me an opportunity to talk about mental health. It is definitely my life's passion is to talk about mental health and to get more and more people to be aware that they don't have to suffer in silence, that there is help out there if you have depression or anxiety, if you have phobias, any of those things, that there is help if you're going through family issues, just, everyday setbacks that happen to all of us as we walk through life, that there is definitely help out there. And hopefully we're going to learn something from this case. Especially if you have a child or a grandchild or someone who is struggling, making bad choices, that if you can't get them help, you can at least get help for yourself so that you can kind of get through whatever this person is going through or that you are facing. So that is it for this video. I have another video about the DSM-5 on another channel that I have, and I'm going to try to link that so that if you want to know a little bit more about DSM-5, how we diagnose people, you can go over and check that video out. It's on my other channel. So thank you guys. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.